Hello, beautiful people. I am Crystal Childs, and I'm here with today's Thursday Word. And our Thursday Word is on faith again. We have been talking about faith for the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue this as long as God leads me into this direction. I'm going to continue to talk about faith. So today we're going to be coming from Matthew chapter 8 and Matthew chapter 17. So I'm going to read a few verses and I'll add them in the description so you can go back and read them for yourself. So Matthew 8:23. As he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. Suddenly, a violent storm arose on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves. But Jesus kept sleeping. So the disciples came and woke him up, saying, Lord, save us. We're going to die. He said to them, Why are you afraid, you of little faith? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. The men were amazed and asked, What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him. So here in this story in Matthew chapter 8, we read about Jesus being in the boat with the disciples. And we've heard this several times that they were in a storm. So apparently the disciples saw the storm as being larger than Jesus. So they didn't even pay attention to the fact that Jesus was resting during the storm. He wasn't startled by the storm, or he wasn't fearful about the storm, because he knew that he had all power and control of the storm and that they were going to be fine. So instead of them paying attention to who Jesus was, seeing that he was resting, they were scared and they woke him up, and Jesus had to then rebuke the winds and the waves. So instead of them just resting in Jesus and resting like he was, they saw the storm as being larger than Jesus. So many times when we're going through issues, we focus so much on the problem, the storm, the situation that we're going through, that we make it bigger than God. So if we're making the problem bigger than God, we're magnifying the problem. Not we're going to be overcome by that problem, because we're not making Jesus bigger than that problem. We are to magnify Jesus. We are to lift Jesus up. We are to worship Jesus while going through. So because that increases our faith, and that also allows us to know that Jesus is bigger than any storm, any situation, any sickness, anything that we are going through, that Jesus is bigger than that. So this story right here is should be an example to us to make Jesus always larger than what we're going through, always larger than anything. Even if anything that we have, any problem we have, anything, make Jesus larger than that issue. So I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 17, and I'm going to be focusing on the 20th verse, but I'm going to start reading at the 14th verse. So when they reached the crowd, a man approached and knelt down before him. Lord, he said, have mercy on my son, because he has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him. Jesus replied, You unbelieving and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him here to me. Then Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him. And from that moment, the boy was healed. Then the disciples approached Jesus privately and said, Why couldn't we drive it out? Because of your little faith. And he told them, For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will tell that this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. So in this story, a man came to the disciples first because they know that the man knew that they were with Jesus. He came to them first to have the demon rebuked out of his son, but the disciples couldn't do it, and they couldn't do it because they had no faith. And Jesus was basically frustrated with the disciples because they've seen him perform all these miracles, they've seen him do all this stuff, but yet they don't have faith in him that he can do it through them. So Jesus was aggravated. And so we know the size of a mustard seed. Like a mustard seed is like the smallest seed. Like I did a study on a mustard seed. Like the mustard seed is the smallest seed, and it makes one of the largest trees. But the mustard seed is a small seed, right? So they didn't even have faith the size of a mustard seed. So we know that faith is like a muscle. We have to exercise it. Once we stand on God's word and his promises and believe who he is, and have faith and he comes through for us, that should help our faith continually gets bigger. And that's what the mustard seed kind of reminds me of, because I believe the mustard tree is like one of the largest trees, that our faith should continually grow. It starts out small, but it grows even larger. But the disciples, they had been walking with Jesus, seeing him perform these miracles, and they did not believe that Jesus could perform the miracle through them. So Jesus was very aggravated with them, and he was like, how long am I going to have to be here with y'all till y'all get this? So I just want to encourage you all to basically think on what God has done for you. Think on how he has came through in some type of way, the promises he's made you, the healing he's done for you, or whatever, how he came through on a bill. And when you are going through something, just go back to that place, how he came through that time, and work your faith. Don't be doubtful. Don't be double-minded, because we know that a double-minded person is unstable in all of their ways. And when we are back and forth, oh God, please do this, and God, please do this, and then we're like, oh, it's not going to get done. That's double-mindedness. So our faith will not be built in that area. So we must just continually work our faith muscle. And it may start out small as a mustard seed. It may start out even like the disciples. It starts out sometimes even like the disciples, not having any faith at all. But we want to get it to that mustard seed, because we know that the mustard tree is a large tree. So we want it to continually and gradually grow just like that. And so let me read over these notes real quick and see if anything I am forgetting. So yeah, it's nothing that I'm really forgetting. I kind of remembered everything. But yeah, so we just want our faith to continually grow, because if our faith is as small as a mustard seed, it's not even about how big a mustard seed it is, but it's about who our faith is in. So if it's just a little bit of faith, and if it's in God, that is all the faith we need, because that he is in the all-powerful, almighty, and the one who can do the miraculous. So that faith is large enough. And we know that each one has a measure of faith. God has given each of us a measure of faith, but we must use the measure of faith that he has given us. So I pray that you are blessed, and I pray that you just continually allow your faith muscle to be built in this season, because the key things that stuck out to me as God spoke these things to me this morning, he gave to me, oh, ye have little faith, to speak on. And he also said, you have faith as a mustard seed. So I knew that I needed to go to these places and study these places to bring them to you all. And as I know that when God gives me a word, it's most of the time coming to me first, but he allows it to share it with everyone else, because this is what he is doing in this season, in this time, with these Thursday words. And I just believe we're going to have faith, mountain moving faith, as I often heard as a child, mountain moving faith in this season, for the things that God has promised us. So you all have a blessed day. This is your Thursday word on faith, and I'll be seeing you next Thursday. Have a blessing, or before then. Bye bye.